Hi everybody and welcome to another Friday's tutorial. And last week we were drawing the lady in red on a brownish paper. But today I want to start drawing this same lady on black Canson paper. Now here you see the setup sketch, and that's the actual same sketch as I'm sorry, this is my cat Mercy. Sorry. This is the actual same sketch as I used last week, but now I want to see what the difference will be when I was to draw this same lady in red on the Canson black pastel paper. Now what I'm using is a very darkish green color pencil, simply. And on my Patreon page you can watch this complete tutorial live, because I upload everything nowadays on my Patreon page, where I draw and talk at the same time, and you can actually draw along with me one-on-one and learn. You can even print out this setup sketch, and in that way it can help you to make your drawing a success. And you can measure everything out and put in the little helper lines. And of course, drawing on black paper is it isn't that difficult, but it is very hard to record. You can see it here. Actually, the paper on the right, my setup sketch, is very white, and it extracts all the light from the black Canson. So I'll simply put it away. But when you're drawing just at home, you will not have that problem at all. So here you can see the lady appearing with my color Coyote, which is a very darkish, grayish color. It was the darkest I could find. And she is walking towards that same bridge, of course, and she wants to walk towards the city that we were going to draw in. And it's very nice to compare what the difference is going to be when you would pick up a black color paper, drawing paper. And you can see the perspective, the perspective disappearing line at the end of the bridge. And just behind the bridge there's a beautiful lantern, and this lantern is our light source, and it will give that drawing that special effect that I want to get in. And next to the bridge there is, there are some bushes going on. And here on the left top, the leaves of the trees that are growing there are partially lit up by that same lantern. Also, the side of the road here on the left, and here all the way down to the right, is partially lit up by that same lantern. Now in the far distance, it is very much fun to draw in a little bit of the skyline. And what I also do is I draw in some little helper lines of my light source. So here on the right there will be our city, but of course I also want to draw in that tree, and you could see that in last week's tutorial. This tree is organically growing, and I loved it so much to put that next to that lantern pole, which is man-made, of course. And then you get that tree in the foreground, which is very organic. So I love that contrast, and I really love what it does for my drawing. Now this is that far distance that I was talking about. You can maybe just see some trees there at the horizon, and I put in some high buildings, but not too much detail because it's very, very far away. Now this is the river part, and what is also very nice to do is to draw in the shadow casted upon the ground by that lantern. So I simply leave out the shape of the tree, and I also want to put in reflections into the road, which is wet, and we're going to draw that in too. So it's going to be a road which is completely wet by the rain that is falling. So even in the end of the drawing, we will be drawing in actual rain. Now this complete setup was done with that very darkest green. And what I'm doing now is I put a little bit of pigment from my pastel pencil, and I take a pastel knife, and then I simply push in a little bit of that pigment into the Canson black. Now you just have to use a very, very minimum amount of white pastel pigments, and you can rub it in even further with your blender stick. The effect is very, very quick indeed, and it is stunning. I even draw in a little bit of light in between the buildings in the far distance, and a little bit of shine upon that water there. And this is done very fastly. It is no problem at all, and I just love that effect that it brings me. And it's so quickly. You can do that so quickly. You can even use those same pastel pigments for the beams of light that come from that lantern. Just take a little bit of the pigments from your pastel pencil, and then just rub it in with a pastel knife or with an ear cleaning stick if you want. You can also do it with the finger, of course, but well, the pastel knife is very fast and very clean to draw with. Then I continue with those pigments, and I draw out the road itself. Now, of course, the road is wet by the rain, so this road also lights up by those beams of light coming from our lantern. Now, this is my pencil eraser, so it's an eraser in a pencil shape. And I use that for some horizontal lines in the road. Here you can see the pencil eraser again, simply taking back out partially the pigments, so you can darken up your drawing again. Then I'm zooming in a little bit for you here. Now this is my light gray color pencil, and this is the concrete railing of that bridge. I also use a little bit of that gray for the lantern, and very sparsely the pure white. I use it for the light bulb, and on top of that railing there on the left, and you can see the immense 3D effect. I also use a little bit of that light gray for the leaves here on the left, partially lit by that lantern. And then I take the pastel pencil again, because the pastel pencil you can also use directly onto the Canson black. Here also a little bit of pastel pencil and then rub that in for the highest lights, but don't make it too white. Make it as diffuse as possible. Here you can see it. I add a little bit every time, a little bit of extra light, but I do not want to make it all white. Then I continue with the light gray for the railing, for the bush on the right side of that walkover bridge, and also on the body of the tree, because also that tree is also lighted up partially by that lantern, of course, and also the branches are partially lit up by that lantern pole, and the effect is so amazing. It's so nice to draw like this. Then it is time for our lady, of course. And what I do for the color red is I take actually two kinds of red, a little bit lighter red and a little bit darker red. And I do not want to put in too much detail into that lady, because the light is coming from the front, so there would never be too much detail in that lady. But I do try to keep that feel of 3D, so the umbrella has to look rounded and not flat. And that is why I use different kinds of color, but also a little bit of the light gray to partially light up parts. And of course she is wearing a raincoat, and that raincoat is moving towards the left a little bit, because the wind and the rain, what we will be drawing in later, is coming from the right side. So also that shawl she has, or scarf she has around her, is moving towards the left. And I also draw in a little bit of red into the road. And depending on how much attention you want to give the lady in red, that of course is all about taste, what you want to do. And you can also pick out another color, of course. This is my lady in red, but she could just as well wear blue or white or yellow. Now here I'm putting in a little bit more white onto the road, and now I use my pencil eraser to draw out the reflection of that tree into the road. This is also very easy to do, and the effect is stunning. Then I take my dark gray pencil and I simply start drawing in lines overall the drawing. So this is how I draw rain, simply by putting in stripes, and that's all. So now you get that blurry effect of rain going on. Then I take my white color pencil, and then you can actually draw in a little bit of light of the lady that is rained upon, and you can actually draw in some dripping water. Now, I certainly had a lovely time drawing this, and I hope you will give this a try, because this is an amazing way of drawing. For now, I would say thank you so much for watching, and maybe you want to check me out on Patreon and support me there. That would be awesome too. And I will say, I see you again next Friday.